and here's why. We know that just looking at the desk that Brent is willing to cross some lines. He's willing to go to some extremes. And if we don't have an old school Tanya Harding situation, I'm going to be shocked. I'm going to be shocked, Jake.
You never know what to expect with the Brenji, you know. Sometimes
he takes it a little seriously.
Sometimes it's getting a little serious. Looks like Custa's also taking it a little bit seriously here. Coming out on the Torbjorn, maybe looking to flex it out again, using the TP, getting to the high ground, gonna set up this castle, this time on the Anubis high ground. It worked really well on Blizzard World first. In fact, a lot better than I would have expected. This time they have Huss's Widowmaker to deny Fleda's Pharah, which is sort of what ended up breaking open the defense last time. So South Korea needs a new solution to this, and it might just be Genji Sombra dive.
And I think at this point, the surprise of the Torbjorn has probably gone away, where they weren't expecting at Blizzard World. They go, hey guys, are they running that? Are they running that again? Oh, yeah, they are.
I can't help but wonder if this is a response to practicing with Custa on 300 ping on Australian servers, but...
the turret doesn't miss. The turret does not care about your ping.
Yeah, the turret is a very, very accurate ally to have. Fury getting stunned in the backline. I don't know if he's able to escape from this. So much pressure on him. He's taking a ton of damage. Excuse me, sorry, that's Punk taking a ton of damage. He's able to escape.
Australia needs to back up a little bit, get healed up. A Kraken is actually in the danger zone right now. Is finally going to get healed back up. Australia back to the spot, but Huss dove on. Fleta just got right up and in there. The Widow threat, it's gone. The turret threat, still there, but okay, you've lost the turret. South Korea is just picking this apart, and the idea of a first point hold here, as was kind of suggested on the desk, probably not going to happen, as South Korea is dominating this first point.
Exactly what I expect out of the Torbjorn defense. It doesn't really work that well. But in this case, it seems like Fled is just free. I mean, with the Junkrat, at least the Genji can be a little bit scared. That insane headshot with the Nano Boost. Never mind.
Take back all of your just filthy words, Jake, because Custa has brought this back on Tor. You don't know the true power of the dark side.
There is no luck at all associated with one-shotting a Genji in the middle of his dash just on Torbjorn. Nothing, no luck at all. Fleda making a big mistake there, I guess.
Also, if you like lava, let me tell you, a volcano is about to erupt. It's Mount Custa, Molten Core on deck. What are you gonna do right now? He goes, I don't even need to use it. I'm just gonna lay in some damage in the face. Now, here we go, the Molten Core, lava everywhere. Has it done anything yet? No, but we're eternally hopeful as South Korea still goes in, they deal with Huss, but they are giving this a lot of respect, Jake.
Yeah, but picks coming in for Team South Korea. Australia, they need to respond in a more striking fashion. It feels like this backpoint setup is not going to work so well once they start losing players, although Punk's able to make it back to his team. That's so important here. Carpe's EMP has to be really huge here. There's no nano boost to enable Fleta, so really it's on the rest of Team South Korea to keep Fleta alive, keep the pressure on Australia so that they can't shut down the Blade.
Carpe going to be a big part here. Immediately drops EMP. Dive comes in. Immediately Fleta right in there. And the Blade strikes true. It's sated. Takes down 2 immediately. And fun and games might be over now for Australia, where South Korea goes, all right, you kept us off our guard for a little bit here, but now, really, we're going to be taking this point.
Yeah, it took a while, took a little bit of an old bank setup, but finally Australia is cracked, and they're going to be forced to switch a lot of their team composition right now, losing 4 of their major ultimates just to get back into a composition that makes sense for second point. This is a major risk with running the Torbjorn comp. You're forced to make massive swaps later into the round that lose all of the tempo that you previously gained, so South Korea have a real chance to take this first fight.
The problem here, though, is that South Korea has also gone for a whole bunch of swaps. They're deciding, oh, you guys are going to be broke on ultimates. You know what? That sounds good. Everyone has no money, or in this case, money being ult, so it is more of a reset for both sides. Oh, wait, we got more swaps. We're not done yet.
I thought Custa was actually going to bring the Torb out there. I was a full believer at that point, but going on that Zenyatta over the Nano Boost onto the Hammond doesn't really find any connections, though. South Korea understands how impossible it is to fight the Nano Boosted Hammond. They're immediately retreating, want to regroup, but Trill's going back in for more.
Trill, you know what? He has been in the South Korea backline this entire time. He has been fearsome, whether it be on Winston or the Hammond. And look, Nano Boost is something you gotta respect.
Exactly, very difficult to break, but Team South Korea, they're playing this slow. It's all about the ultimate game at this point. Australia has managed to get over their hump and start building up those ultimates, as you mentioned. A Kraken getting pressured back into the spawn, but now it's Jonak doing the dive, but he's still alive, protected by his supports.
Meanwhile, Custa able to punish Fate, so it's not quite the engage that South Korea would have liked. They're down to 5, Australia's a little bit chunked down, but ooh, Trill pile driving on the Jonak again. Trill, at this point, I'm convinced that Jonak owes Trill money.
Drill definitely is coming for it, whether it's Ode or not. Carpe getting a lot of damage there, starting to build up his Graviton Surge. But this comp's looking a little bit weird for Team South Korea. I mean, normally you would expect a Reinhardt in this composition so that you can maximize the power of your Zarya, force the enemies to shoot those shields. But Fate's Winston's going to have a tough time to actually find pickups here. He's going to be all alone if he extends off into the backline. And if he plays on point, he's not going to be cleaving as effectively as a Ryan would. So it's up to Fate to prove that this Primal is actually worth it.
We'll see how this goes. Australia, of course, in a good advantage here at the EMP. Here's the problem. On to Anubis, you all clump up because you think it's a good idea, but you know what a Sombra wants to do? Sombra just wants to hit all that with one juicy EMP, and instead, they use it on two. They use it to immediately get rid of Carpe, and then they just go after Fate. So you didn't even go for everyone. They just went for the quick pickoff, and it works out quite well. And South Korea's barrier, it's not enough to actually swing the fight.
Yeah, very hard to come back on Temple of Anubis once you lose a few on offense. Of course, those defensive spawns are just so close to the fight. It's just very difficult to overwhelm them. At this point, Fury D-Mech with very low charge, they're going to let him leave. And this is just a major, major delay for Team South Korea. They don't really seem to have an answer with this. This Winston triple tank composition is really not getting it done for them, it seems.
Well, the one upside here for South Korea is that they are about to have Grav up and running. I mean, Australia, though, they have so many tools that this is still going to be a very difficult fight for South Korea. They're spending the time to group back up. They know they don't have to worry about the EMP, so now they're going to go in. Rally's up, they're armored up, but here comes the mine. Trill dives in, drops the mine, CK off the Meteor Strike, finds Fury, denies the remake, and that is enough. You pick off one or two people, you win the fight, and Australia will fend South Korea off again.
I will say, though, Team South Korea they're in a better position in the Ultimate Economy now than they were before that last fight. So they are making a bit of progress here, starting to work down those ultimates. It costs 4 for Australia to make that hold, and South Korea have managed to hold on to their Graviton Surge and their Primal Rage. This is the type of team fight that you can definitely win, but again, Huss has that EMP. If you only have one ultimate, there's not a better one in the game than the EMP.
EMP is the one ult that doesn't really care about how many ults the other team has. You can win a fight with a good EMP. No, gets grabbed! Right, he's going for the EMP. Doesn't get anything he wants at all. 3 early pickoffs from South Korea. What a read coming in from Carpe. And South Korea's just going to go right onto the point after that. Amazing play.
No question about it. That's the best grab we've seen so far in the tournament. Carpe absolutely saving his team, completely baiting the dive from the side of Team Australia, and now they're just trickling back onto the point. Faye with the Primal Rage, zoning the backline, but a Kraken back with his sleeps, getting a ton of value. Now it's just Huss on point, though, with the Reinhardt, trying to get some sort of value.
Australia in the danger zone, looking for anything here to delay, but it's not going to be enough. Carpe with the reads, with the well-placed grab, finds a way for South Korea to finish out with a reasonable amount of time left on the clock.
That was definitely a PogChamp in real life for me. I was really not expecting the grab to come out, and it was just perfect. So props to Carpe. What an insane play there. Everyone coming from all angles, and they all just end up getting caught in this perfect wall grab by Carpe. Even harder to do now that the Graviton radius has been reduced.
Right, and I think that's something worth noting here, where if you've just been a casual viewer of Overwatch and you haven't really paid close attention to the changes, anytime you see a Zarya get 3 or more people on a grab, you should be celebrating that, because that is a lot harder to do nowadays, especially when a team is positioning themselves well.
Certainly here, and now we get to see what South Korea will pull out on the defense. This is a team with a ton of experience. They've seen all the metas of the Overwatch League, and we've seen many, many different ways to approach Temple of Anubis. So I'm really interested to see which one they feel like is most effective in the current metagame.
And don't forget that overlay we just had there on the bottom. Obviously, we've been seeing some pretty good plays here in the Overwatch World Cup. Hashtag T-Mobile MVP. Vote for who you want to vote for, and I gotta say right now, Carpe's making the case.
Certainly, and don't forget their battle tag in the tweet so that your vote will be counted, and you can help decide who is our T-Mobile MVP of this year's Overwatch World Cup.
So, MVP voting, of course, still very much in flux. Don't forget, by the way, we are drunk with power on our side. We actually get a vote, Jake, and it counts for a lot.
Yeah, we get more votes than you. How does that feel, Twitch viewers?
Oh, man. Go in. You just got to poke them like that, I suppose. But, Jake, making friends, influencing enemies, something like that. South Korea, though, on the defense. Australia, we'll see just what they have on the attack.
I'd love to see a good old-fashioned mirror match on the Sombra Genji comp. It's going to be on who gets a better dive, who can trade backlines more efficiently, and there's definitely going to be a lot of pressure on South Korea. It's very difficult to defend in this kind of mirror match. You need to play perfectly, make no mistakes.
South Korea holding the back flutter on that defensive Genji, and you're right, this is something that's going to require high execution, but if there's any team that you really have to have faith in their execution given how well they've played here so far, it's South Korea.
Exactly, they're certainly looking good. Fleta getting so much Dragon Blade farm up in the early team fight. Trill forced out, he can't get any healing, and that's just because the healers are afraid to peek the choke from Team Australia. Even the threat of Jonak and Animo is too much to bear here. The D.Va trying to go in, but again, it's so risky to commit. They know that Sombre's ready to hack them if they try and fight a Genji.
And the big problem here is that you take a look at Fleta, 61% towards blade. Okay, well, that's a bigger problem when your Ana just gets dunked. CKM making the most out of limited shots there, giving Australia the 6-on-5. Now, Fleta kind of close to a Dragon Blade, might be able to pick it up before the fight is over, but it's on Razor's edge. He's almost picked off, and Australia doing their best now to get onto the point, to make some space, but they lost Huss, and now it's a bit of a bloodbath as both Sombras are out.
The pick on the Animo is an absolute game changer, and now CKM finds both DPS on the side of Team South Korea. CKM absolutely carrying this offense. Without that pick on the Animo, all of those tanks on high ground would have been constantly at full HP, so really it's CKM opening up that fight and now closing it. 4 picks on CKM. We haven't seen much of his Widow, but it's looking really good so far.
It was absolutely spicy coming up from CKM, and okay, that's a super early infra site. Now you have to think that Australia is going to dive right on in, but that's
they're going to give up the infra site.
Yeah,
they don't really want to commit to that team fight because it is so difficult to make that Widow work attacking the second point, especially when you know Carpe and Fleta are close to their ults. You know Fade and Fury are close to their ults. Playing Widow into that much control is a really, really risky proposition. So Team Australia, they want to play it slow, protect Huss and try and work his way in. But Carpe, he's close to an EMP. They could be getting dicey real soon.
No doubt about it. You got Fleta now holding up the shield, swapping to the Brigida. Australia going to be going up that left side all together. And one way that they can really be disruptive here, you have the Primal Rage into the self-destruct.
Huss is poking from the low ground, but I don't actually love this team play. It makes it really obvious that Australia isn't going to commit to that high ground on point, but Jonak trancing in nonetheless. They need to get some kills out of this, but they haven't been able to find anything.
They got a Kraken. That could be enough. Even losing one here on Anubis is really rough. And oh boy, they give up a tick for free. You can't have that happen. That's actually very good game sense coming from Australia. They could lose the fight and still be good, but they still want to fight. They drop the barrier. Custa with the beat. Deadeye from Huss, not going to get anything. Carpe shuts down his opposing Cowboy. South Korea going, all right, let's slow this down a bit. Use the barrier, but we don't really care. We're going to reestablish back here on the point, and Carpe just solid damage on the side. Trill, nowhere to go. And South Korea looking like they're going to fend this off.
Yeah, too difficult to really keep the push going. I mean, South Korea really understands this map very, very well. They have the experience in the Overwatch League. They know that it's fine to commit a lot of ultimates, a lot of value, so long as you get that crucial pick on a character like Zenyatta. Zenyatta with no movement abilities, his trip from spawn back to the team fight is as long as anything else in the game. So you really do buy yourself a lot of time to stabilize if you're Team South Korea. That aggression targeted at the Zen is really effective. And now Team Australia, they make the switch back to that classic 3-3 comp with the Kraken coming up on the Transcendence that could ameliorate one of those major weak points for Team Australia.
This is a big window for Australia. Jonak and Animo, they're not quite there, the support ults yet. If they could rally and get on them before it's up, and it's going to be very, very close. There's a chance here, albeit slim as it is, but South Korea, they're going to go straight in. Carpe healed up after getting chunked down. A Kraken falls immediately. Now support ults up for South Korea, and they don't even have to use them. Australia's window kind of closing there.
Fleta on this Doomfist getting so much value in those tight corridors. He splits the Zen away and picks him up, and you can see a Kraken not able to finish off building his Transcendence, but honestly, I don't know if it even would have been enough in that team fight.
So Australia, working with 4 minutes here, they still could set a quicker time, but South Korea, they're hitting their groove, and they are swapping like crazy here, Jake. They got a Mei in play.
Carpe on the Mei, taking a page out of Team Canada's book, maybe going to try and make this work against the Reinhardt, split him off from his team, but maybe he's looking to go back to spawn, switch to something else. Carpe is really feeling his swaps these days.
And then he's not feeling his swap as he goes back to the spot. And Carpe's just like, what do I want to play tonight? I don't know. Mystery Heroes now in action here at the Overwatch World Cup. And Fleta gonna dive on in, off the ice wall, looking for the uppercut. Nothing really comes of it. Trill still feeling good on the Reinhardt. The Transcendence from Australia now fading. Gonna be met by a Transcendence from Jonak, and South Korea easily just brings it the other way. And that's why if you gotta do an early Transcendence, Jake, you gotta get something of it. And here comes Mei on the cleanup.
Here's the problem for Team Australia. Their Transcendence gets forced so early. Carpe with the Mei wall splits Trill away from his team, and the Kraken feels like that Reinhardt's gonna go down if he doesn't trance. Using that trance early prompts South Korea to just completely disengage, and then they're getting no value out of that ultimate. Almost unacceptable here on that second point. You need to make every ultimate count, especially those support ultimates.
So Australia right now, they're a little bit behind in the L game. What do they need to do in this next push?
Right now, they just need to get back into that ultimate tempo game. They need to make some effective trades, maybe use a small number of ults and get a lot out of the enemy team. Carpe, though, with the wall, denying them their path of movement. This is going to cost them all the HP TP on their Reinhardt shield just to keep everybody alive.
And then they decide, you know what? We didn't want to go down that path anyways. We're going to go straight up the middle. Here comes the shatter. Finds Carpe, but what a boom! They move Trill to the side. He's not able to get the pin. A great play coming from South Korea to protect their team. Fleta says, I like this. Let's dive in even more. They're putting him in the freezer, the ice wall on the other side. And South Korea dominant right now versus Australia.
Fleta with the Meteor Strike forces that high noon to be canceled, forces Huss off this position, and there's just no way you can challenge a Primal Rage, a full HP Doomfist, and a Mei that's just free shooting into your backline. CKM making the switch over to the Genji. It looks like it's a full dive swap coming out for Team Australia. They know that what they've been doing hasn't been working. They don't have an answer for Carpe's Mei. I wonder though, will Carpe value the Blizzard enough to continue playing Mei against dive? It's not something we see all the time, but Blizzard can be a powerful ult, and Trill with no Primal Rage is especially vulnerable to it.
Also, I don't think Carpe's going to throw the ult away here. I think Blizzard's one of those things where they're going to hang on to it. But also, who knows what Carpe's going to do? He's been a force of nature, swapping more than Mangachu. But he's going to stay for the Blizzard. He's going to invite the cold. He lives for the cold. I know I certainly do. As Fury finds Trill early on, the control that Carpe is providing, absolutely awesome. And now, Jake, we'll see if your theory is tested as we enter the final minute.
Certainly, I mean, Carpe has been making this Mei look good, even against a more classic dive setup that you wouldn't really expect Mei to be functional against. I really think that's more on Carpe's insane skill level than the character, but he uses that the Blizzard perfectly. It forces Trill to really not get any value out of his nano boost. And now Carpe, off to the McCree, doesn't care at all about his last character's ultimate charge. Fury, though, gets hacked. This could be a major pickoff. No, South Korea immediately saves him.
Yeah, he's protected immediately. Don't forget Australia. This is going to be one of their final attempts or they will be eliminated. South Korea on the verge of going to the semifinals here. Faith dives on in, finishes what Carpe was starting. And Carpe, even though he's going to fall, you got the pickup. You played damage. You done good as South Korea easily finishes things out. Australia, their season, down to one final fight here, Jake.
That's just such impressive game sense from Carpe. He went for the complete all-in, fully committed flank, goes all the way behind on McCree, basically instantly going to die if he's found out, but he knows where CKM and Huss are, knows that he's unscouted, and gets a major flash from the supports that allows Team South Korea to win that team fight. So a great risk-taking by Carpe there.
Final attempt here for Australia. Final attempt for Brent to be the greatest AO summer. CKM down early, can't even use the blade. Two pickoffs for South Korea. An absolutely awesome counter initiation. And Australia falling one by one. South Korea, of course it's expected. You're going to be heading over to the semifinals.
Brutal 3-0 dominance. Team South Korea really hitting their stride, especially it feels like on that last defense, they were just holding strong. I don't know if Australia would have capped that point in 10 minutes.
Oh man, South Korea putting on a clinic. And by the way, if someone asks you, what's Carpe's hero pool? The answer is everything. Everything.
What isn't his hero pool? You know, bringing out the Mei, the McCree, the Doom, the Sombra, we've seen it all from him. And here at the Overwatch World Cup, that's what's proving to be most valuable. You need those players who are ready to play whatever the composition demands at the moment. This current meta is so swap heavy, it's all about counterpicking your opponents. So if you're a player who's comfortable on half the roster, you have a major advantage over somebody who's really limited.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for us here on the cast, but you don't want to go away because when we get back from the break, Brett is going to get his comeuppance.